16 years and the wait is finally over. Your Stanley Cup champions in 2020, the Tampa Bay Lightning. Carolina LEID, Ryan Bass here with you. They've done it, Carolina. They have won the Stanley Cup. Last year, swept in the first round. This year, they win the entire thing. How about that?
I mean, think about the night we've just been through. I mean, everyone's kind of like breathing. They don't know what to do. The fans right now, of course, just going crazy. I mean, we've seen video tonight of fans running around, taking their shirts off, having a good time. And you know what? They earned it. We've been through a lot.
We've got a lot of coverage here as you're joining us on our 10 Tampa Bay Facebook page. We're going to have Jason Cullimore, who was one of the defensemen for that 2004 Cup run. He's going to call into the show here and chat with us and describe his emotions right now as he sees this team win its first title since 2004. But first, we're going to go out live to Thunder Alley right now. That is where Grace Remington is standing by. Grace, it is an absolute madhouse out there as fans are celebrating a championship.
Yeah, Ryan, but I mean, what else did we expect? They've waited 16 years for this, and I got my hands on some of the new merch, so of course I'm going to show it to you guys again. Here's the t-shirt. Stanley Cup Champs 2020, your Tampa Bay Lightning. It actually happened. And here's the hat. That's a good-looking hat, man. But yeah, people, so they let the barriers down. They actually did a good job controlling the crowd size here. During the game, they reached capacity around like 4 o'clock, but as soon as they won, the barriers were let down. Everybody who was left on the sidewalk came rushing in, so the crowd is a lot rowdier now. Some people have actually kind of cleared out a little bit, but it's a fun time. It's fun out here, and you know what? People deserve this celebration. I love Tampa Bay. I love the people here, and we all saw the heartbreak the team and the fans went through last year, so I'm just extremely happy for everyone in the city right now.
And I gotta tell you, Grace, that shirt and that hat really is gorgeous. I really love it. I mean, you can see people hopefully looking at this tonight or thinking, oh, I'm gonna try and pick one up tomorrow because it looks amazing if you're not there right now.
I would imagine that shirt and that hat will be sold out within 24 hours because I think people are excited to get their hands on some gear. I know Bobby's got his jersey over here. He's probably going to be getting a hat and a shirt as well. But Carolina, with what we've been through here in 2020 and the pandemic, obviously this country is really getting ready and ramping up for an election in less than 6 weeks. To be able to do this, to be able to have this team, 361 days ago, the season started, Carolina.
It's
361 days ago.
Said it a couple of times. I'm like, it's that quick.
And yet they won a championship. We've got more coverage of what's going on outside.
So we've got Angelina Salcido, who's also out with fans. And, you know, it's been loud, but, you know, she's been with them to just get reaction from everybody out there.
Hey, Carolina, it has been an extremely fun night. I got one of these. These are what everyone has been using throughout the entire game. We're in front of the convention center. Amalie Arena is just a few blocks away. And I'm sure that you saw Grace's live shot. It was pretty packed there. I'm going to tell you why. The majority of the fans that were here are actually headed down right now. There they are. Now these fans have been the most excited fans that I have ever seen, and this means so much to them. A lot of them have been pretty emotional, but I'm going to toss it back to you guys so you guys can get more fan reaction. I know Emerald's out in St. Pete as well.
Well, Angie, we're actually really lucky tonight. We have somebody who knows what it's like to win.
Yeah, we do. Jason Cullimore, who was a defenseman for that 2004 Cup champions for the Tampa Bay Lightning. He joins us now on the phone. And Jason, I know you've been watching and certainly celebrating this team winning its first Cup since you were on the ice for them. Take me through your emotions right now as you watch this team with what they went through last year to capturing it all now. What are these guys thinking and feeling right now?
You know what? That's a really good question because quite honestly, you know, we've never had this happen. And, you know, I was watching when they won and, you know, throughout the whole time they were in the bubble and playing without fans, you know, you thought, oh, this isn't too bad. Like you don't really notice it a whole lot. But I tell you what, when they finally won it, when they were celebrating and that's when I noticed it. You know, that's when you want to be in front of your fans, in front of your family, being able to skate around with the cup, you know, point to the stands to where your friends and family are, you know, the energy from the fans. So I can imagine for them that's, you know, one thing that they're going to miss, but hopefully they'll get the cup here soon and they get to do that with their friends and family.
And then can you tell us a little bit more about like the celebration afterwards when you're getting on the plane, you're coming back, you know the fans are excited, and then you're going to have, we don't know what we're going to have really,
some sort of parade,
but some sort of parade.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Well, see, that's the thing. Is the only thing that this can compare to is winning the Stanley Cup on the road. Because that's what they're doing. The thing is, when you're on the road, though, there's still people in the stands. But I was through this. I was with Chicago when they won it in 2010. And the fact, it's a little bit, you celebrate with the guys, which is great. And then you get on the plane and you do have some friends and family there. But the real celebration will start once they land here in Tampa. They get to see everybody who they haven't seen in a long time. And then, they'll get to hear from these fans that you guys are showing and we're hearing.
Jason, you spent 7 years with this franchise. You've seen what this team has been through, what this franchise has been through. I mean, when you first came here, they had 50 losses, I think 3 seasons in a row. Then you won the Cup, and obviously you see what they did now to become one of the pinnacle franchises in the National Hockey League. Just describe to me how tough that is to do, to have this window to win a Cup, and for them to be able to do it this year, given everything that was thrown their way.
Yeah, well, first, kudos to you for doing your homework. That's great. I was here through the lean times and was able to still be with the team when we finally won the Cup, and it was a long run. These guys that are on the team right now, they've been successful. A couple of them have been to the finals against Chicago. Last year and what they had to go through the regular season last year. Everyone said, they didn't have any adversity. They had nothing they really had to push through, to solidify that bond and that feeling you get to be a team. But I tell you what, all the stuff that they had to go through this year, there definitely was that this year, to go through this, to be there, to go through the bubble. I tell you, it's one of these things. It's historic and I'm looking forward to those, those DVDs, those things that we see behind the scenes. The stories that we're going to hear from these guys about what happened. It's going to be great, and you could just tell, that they really came together as a group, as a team. To have someone like Stamkos be there, be able to play that one game and what it meant to everybody on that bench, and obviously what he means to the guys in the locker room as a player and as a leader. It's just amazing some of the stuff that they've had to go through.
Jason, unbelievable to see him win a championship. It was great to have you spend so much time in the city. I know a part of your heart will always be here in Tampa Bay. We can't thank you enough for your time tonight. Go celebrate with you and your family, my friend, and thank you so much for joining us here on 10 Tampa Bay.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
And we're really lucky to have him because that's a perspective that we don't
Unbelievable.
know, to be there to really be part of that. So we're going to go ahead and start listening into some of the press conference, some of the players and the coaches talking about.
Yeah, we've got the Conn Smythe Award winner, Victor Hedman, and the captain, Steven Stamkos. They're speaking live right now. Let's take you to it as they tell you what it's like to bring home this Stanley Cup.
I think we put our gear on with like 3 or 4 minutes left. We didn't want to jinx anything, and but just to be out there and celebrate with the guys. I mean, every single person. It's something we talked about at the beginning of training camp, that it's not just going to take 20 guys to win the Stanley Cup. It's going to take every single guy who was in this bubble and more. And I'm so proud of each and every one of them.
Next question, Rob Tichkowski, Post Media.
Hi, Victor. For those of us who might never win a Stanley Cup in a quarantine bubble, what is it like to not just win a title, but win it in this environment in 2 months in a quarantine with the guys?
Well, I can imagine lifting the cup Sunrise be a lot more serious, especially if it's on home ice. But to do it together with this group is, it's like I said earlier. It's been a grind. It's not easy. It hasn't been easy, but it's all worth it now for sure. That's the bottom line. We're Stanley Cup champs, and like I said earlier, we're gonna be Stanley Cup champs forever. It's gonna be in the history. I mean, our grandkids if they look at the Stanley Cup, they're gonna see our names. You can't even imagine, how proud you're gonna feel down the stretch. But right now, it's so tough to gather all the emotions and put them into words. It's been different. 24 teams came in, and we're standing as the last team. It's amazing. So it's going to take a while for it to sink in, and I think I speak for everyone. We can't wait to get back to Tampa tomorrow and celebrate with our families and the fans of Tampa Bay Lightning. So we're so happy.
We'll do two more in the media center. Jason Hills, Tampa Bay Times.
Yeah, Victor, can you just without your captain Steven in the playoffs, it just seemed like the whole team rallied around. And did you feel like you needed to step up your game even more? Because I mean, you win the Conn Smythe, you score 10 goals, you put an unbelievable playoff together.
Yeah, I mean, someone's got to replace those goals, and I thought about it, a lot during the break. Is what can I improve in my game, and that's shooting the puck, and some of them found the net. So, at the end of the day, this is not my trophy. This is everyone's trophies. It's easy as that. It's could have gone to every single guy on that team. Without Stammer, you obviously lose one of the best players in the world, but I'm so proud of the way we came together as a group. And still, like I said earlier, with Stammer not playing, he still was in there, he was still in there with us and still rallied the troops. One of the bigger things I think was last game, you have the chance to win and you lose in double overtime, and everyone sits down in the locker room, and even before the coaches come in, Stammer comes in and kind of rallied the troops. Everyone got excited again. It's a tough way to lose in double overtime when you have the chance to win the cup. So for him to do that says a lot about not just him as a leader, but as a person. He's the most unselfish person you'll meet. He's all about the team, and there's a reason he's one of the best captains in the world. So, and one of the best persons there is. So he rallied the group, and I thought today, talking about the game, I thought this was one of our most complete games ever played. So probably in my 11 years, that's the most complete game we played.
Last one up top, Tim Campbell, NHL.com.
Congratulations, guys. A word from you both on this, if you would. Stephen, you gave the cup to Victor, and Victor, you gave the cup to Braden Coburn. Why Braden? And then also, what's the significance of some of the other role players that were high up in the order, like Alex Killorn and Zach Bogosian and Shen?
Well, it was a no-brainer for me. Like Victor said, you dream about this forever. If we ever won a cup, with this group, I knew I was giving it to Hetty. I think we honestly did a video or an interview like 3 years ago, and we talked about that. So it was an easy choice for me. I knew I was going to give it to him. One of the best players I've ever played with. My best friend on the team. We've come up together, so it was easy for me. As for the other guys, you try to give it to the guys that have grinded so hard in their career to get to this moment, and just show respect for those guys. Obviously, some things get lost in the hype of winning and the happiness of winning, but we have so many guys that were so deserving on this team that have played in this league for a long time. So every single guy that got it obviously deserved it.
Yeah, with Kobe, it's I think this is his third final, and this is what I say about this group, that Kobe didn't play that many games in these playoffs, but he still kept this unbelievable, I lost the word, but
attitude,
yeah. And he kept rallying the troops as well. He wasn't, I'm sure everyone wants to play, but Kobe has, had a great attitude. He kept cheering the boys on. He kept, pushing us. He kept skating every day. He pushed the guys that were skating. He's just the all-around, great athlete that has fought so hard in, he went to the cup final with Philly. He went to the cup final with us, and now we get to win together. So, and like Stammer said.
You know how well these guys know each other? They're finishing each other's sentences after winning the cup. Stammer coming in there and filling in for Victor Hedman. Those two guys, part of the 8 that were on this roster that went to that 2015 Cup that lost to the Blackhawks. That's when that window kind of opened for the Lightning, when you knew they were going to be special, Carolina. And to see them come through what they did last year, of course, that collapse in the opening round, everybody was making fun of them. I mean, they were the punchline of sports to be able to be that historic in the regular season and then to collapse in the first round. And now to come all the way back. I told you again, 361 days ago, this season started. And now it culminates in a cup here that's coming back to Tampa Bay. Second championship of franchise history. Unbelievable what those guys
I mean, they've been through so much, and I like how they mentioned just the grind that it took to get back to where they are tonight. So I want to get back to Grace Remington, who is out there. She's been out there all night with fans. So what is this about a light post being pulled down in the area?
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry I have to kind of give you a story that tarnishes the night, but fans are a little bit rowdy, as you might expect. Last time I looked over in this direction, they were dancing around a light post, waving a flag in the air. Well, next time I looked over, it's on the ground. There is one officer over there kind of monitoring the situation in the area, making sure that no more damage gets done. But pretty much the crowd that was here for the watch party has all left. The people who are here now were the people who were out watching on the sidewalk who weren't able to get in. They all jumped the barriers and kind of sprinted into Thunder Alley. It's like, I get it, but like, and you can see they're not going to go home anytime soon. It's really loud. I don't even know if you can hear me because I can't hear me. They were like climbing this big stage, like people climbed all the way up to the roof. They're pretty hyped because they've waited 16 years for this. And I'm just going to toss it back to you guys because I have no idea. I can't hear a single thing.
Well, no, Grace, thank you. Thank you so much. We could hear everything that you said. Thank you for explaining what exactly went down there. Of course, we don't want to ruin the night, but you got to explain what is going on there. Again, fans having a great time, but we do not want to destroy property.
And this is why we talk about celebrating responsibly and socially responsibly as well. I do want to mention, by the way, the guys will arrive back here tomorrow. They will reunite with their families, by the way, for the first time since July 26th. That's when the guys entered that bubble in Toronto, and then the conference and finals were played over in Edmonton. Think about how long that is away from their families to be able to now reunite with them. There will be a Stanley Cup Champions on Ice celebration tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Family, staff, and other VIPs will be there. Unfortunately, no general admission to fans, obviously due to social distancing and the pandemic. But we'll have all that information up on 10tampabay.com. I'm sure there will be people around Amalie Arena that will be celebrating this team as they certainly arrive here and give them the championship welcome that they deserve. Justin Granite is here with us as well. He's been watching this game. He's been following this team really all season long. Jay, I remember a few years ago, you and I were 2 wins away from heading to Vegas with this team that collapsed against the Caps. Then, of course, last year, yes, I know, I'm reminding you. Then, of course, last year, they get swept in that first round. From your perspective, you've covered this team for a while. Take me through how tough it was to get to this point and win this championship, given all the things that were thrown their way.
And before I answer that, I've got to update you. There are no light poles down in this house. It's pretty tame. In fact, my dad's passed out on the couch right now, literally staring at him. Now he's giving me the thumbs up. Go Bolts. That's right, baby.
Oh, no.
And he's 68 years old. Today's his birthday. 68 years old. Happy birthday. They win the cup on your birthday. Back to the Bolts and how they won the cup on Pops' birthday. You do go back to 2 years ago when the Capitals came into Amalie Arena and beat the Lightning in Game 7. Nikita Kucherov was a no-show in that series in Game 6 and 7. And then last year, you have your best players disappearing against the Blue Jackets. What did they do this year? The best players, they show up, and they show up in a historic way. Victor Hedman, the consummate. You could have given that to Braden Point, to Nikita Kucherov. So many records were set by the team. You could have given it to the big cat, Andrei Vasilevsky. They needed those moments. And John Cooper said earlier in these playoffs, maybe we needed that experience against the Blue Jackets to become stronger, to get to this point. And Coop also mentioned something earlier in these playoffs that really stuck with me. He said, whoever wins this Stanley Cup, it is going to be the most difficult Stanley Cup to ever win due to COVID-19, traveling from the bubble in Toronto to Edmonton. And it's tough to argue that. This might have been the toughest, most difficult Stanley Cup to ever win. In the pieces that were put together, be remiss not to mention the name Steve Yzerman. The old general manager, the former general manager of this team, now with the Red Wings, he constructed many of these pieces on this team, the Braden Points, the Nikita Kucherovs of the world. And then Julien Brisebois seamlessly takes over this roster and adds pieces little by little. Barclay Goodrow, Zach Bogosian, Blake Coleman, and they gave up a lot in those trades in the middle of this season to get guys that aren't superstars, but guys that will punch you in the face when it comes to the third period and really dig deep to get victories. We saw that from this team. The Dallas Stars, they're a heavy-hitting team, and in the past, the Bolts would have backed down to teams like that, like they did against the Capitals 2 years ago. And this year, they stood not only toe-to-toe, but they knocked teams like that in the face and kept coming after punch by punch. This team never lost back-to-back games in these Stanley Cup playoffs. An 18-7 record. It started in the back with Andrei Vasilevsky and worked its way up. Victor Hedman, a world-class defenseman, arguably the best, for our money, the best in hockey, and then it goes all the way up, lines 1 through 4. I was just listening to Braden Point's press conference moments ago, and he said the key to this team was we played the right way. And that's something that this team admittedly had difficulties with in the past. But this season, before this pandemic, this team, remember, they rolled off some ridiculous winning streaks. They won 10 at one point, then they had a couple losses, then won another 11 straight. They were gearing up for a Stanley Cup before this happened. And then during COVID, this team never left Tampa Bay. Other teams flew out to different places, went home to family. This team continued together. And you saw it all documented on social media with Alex Killorn in his social media campaign and his episodes. So it was a special achievement here with the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm going to send it back to you guys. Dad needs to get back to sleep.
I love how he woke up. I'm like, wait, is he asleep? I just heard him. Wait, which is it now?
Tell Papa Granite we love him, and we're happy to have him here in Tampa Bay. What a way to culminate Dad's visit here with a Stanley Cup champion.
And Justin brought up a really interesting point that I think is important. In sports, we learn something that we learn in life, right? Sometimes those very low moments, you think what we just went through not too many years ago, brought them to this point today. Yeah. He talked about the psychologist, the person who talked to the team, who got them where they need to get today. I just think it's an interesting life lesson, because that was tough.
You love the fact that you have this resilience all the way to redemption, all the way to championship. Here you go, live at Thunder Alley right now. It's a little bit of more of a calmer scene than we saw than the moments after they had clinched the cup here, Carolina. But again, when you talk about moments for this city, and I want to just hand out a couple of stats here. The Bolts, by the way, as I mentioned, the first franchise to join the NHL in the 90s, a 90s baby, the Bolts were, and to win 2 Stanley Cups. And they are the 3rd team in NHL history to have gotten swept in the opening round the previous year and to come back and win the cup. The last 2 to do it, though, were in 61 and 67. So it's been a long time since we've seen that. Yes, certainly. But the scene outside of Thunder Alley, it's been incredible ever since this team wrapped it up.
Yeah, we've had Grace Remington, we've had Angelina Salcido, as well as Emerald here in St. Pete, showing us what fans are doing tonight. All of them, of course, really exciting. So this is the boat parade I want to talk about real quick. That's coming up. That's going to be Wednesday. That's at 5 p.m. It's a boat parade along the Riverwalk. So that is something that is really exciting. That's going to be an incredible thing to be a part of. And then at 7:30, as you can see there on your screen, we're going to have that fan rally at Raymond James Stadium.
So obviously the boat parade doing that for social distance measures. Yeah. Obviously at Raymond James Stadium, you're going to have fans that can social distance there as well. But that boat parade, look, one of the best parts of Tampa Bay is what? It's our waterfront, is it not?
Waterfront and our sand, right?
And that, of course,
we got it all.
That with the sand and the beaches are second to none. but
yeah,
the waterfront, that's where the Super Bowl, that is where the center of the Super Bowl will be held come February. And that's going to be the center of the celebration for the Stanley Cup champions here in 2020. We're going to have full coverage, by the way, on 10 Tampa Bay of that boat parade on Wednesday. Can you believe it? We are Stanley Cup champions. Look at the SunTrust building lit up blue and white in honor of our Tampa Bay Lightning, Carolina.
Well, this was a lot of fun. I'm really glad that we were able to chat with everybody here on Facebook. I see all your comments coming in. This was really a great way to celebrate the Lightning and celebrate their win. All that hard work got them to tonight.
2020, we got something. We got a Stanley Cup championship. Big thanks to Jason Cullimore, the 04 Cup champ that joined us here on the show. Of course, for Emerald, for Angelina, for Grace, for Justin, and of course for my beautiful co-anchor here, Carolina. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us here on this post-game show. Your Bolts, our Stanley Cup champions, will be celebrating into the night. 2020 champs. Thanks for joining us on 10 Tampa Bay. Go Bolts.
Good night. Bye.